Well, good morning from a very hot and sunny Spa-Francorchamps. We're in Belgium for round 3 of Euroformula Open. It's qualifying for race 1, a full grid of drivers vying to make it to the pinnacle of motorsport, learning their craft and fighting with the best of the next generation right here in Euroformula Open. You can see the track temperature and the air temperature there, and it is hot and forever getting hotter. Up in the commentary box, my name is Harry Benjamin. Absolute pleasure to have you alongside. Alongside me, though, in the commentary box as well is Elliot Wood. Hello, Elliot. How are you?
I'm good. I'm back at a circuit I know very, very well. And it's great to see we've actually got some good weather here as well.
It is, and unfortunately for us, we're in a very big glass box, so it's going to get very hot indeed. But we are live now for qualifying 1. Just over 23 minutes to go. This will set the grid for race 1, and there's a couple of driver changes that we should probably make you aware of to begin with. And we have a new team on the grid this week, a new team, a returning team, but this is their first round in 2021. Carlin, the legendary team from the UK, have joined for this round with Christian Mansell, the young Australian driver currently racing with Carlin in BRDC, British Formula 3. They want him to get as much track time experience as possible, and they've got some good rep in Euroformula as well. Last year they finished 4th overall, 1 win and 5 podiums, and even here last year they managed to get a P3 and a P2 in Spa as well. So hopefully, despite Mansell obviously just getting up to grips this weekend, they'll be hoping for a decent result. Also, we don't have Jack Crawford this weekend. The young Red Bull-backed driver racing for Team Motorsport. He'll be replaced for this weekend by Matthias Luton, the German driver who returns to Euroformula. He's doing some LMP3 prototype racing as well this year, but he is filling in for Crawford this weekend down at Team Motorpark. So again, another one to see how he will do. And we also don't have Rafael Villagomez, who is absent this week with other racing commitments for Van Amersfoort Racing as well. So they're not here this weekend. Well, they are here with Casper Stevenson, of course, but Rafael Villagomez not here either. So it's going to be still a very intriguing race this weekend, and we'll see how we get underway for qualifying. The car's just getting warmed up at the moment, getting all the tyres into place, and I don't think they'll have any issues about being too hot. Cameron Dass yesterday, who topped practice, said, Elliot, didn't he, that it is very hot and there's not much airflow to the drivers in those cockpits, so they are sweltering. Yeah,
it's all to do with the humidity. So when it does get very humid like this, you're essentially pushing through a warm, thick wall of air. Now, you can't really see it, but that's what it feels like in the car, especially when you're hitting it at 130 miles an hour plus. So it's very tricky out there, and it's going to be particularly difficult on the tyres. We had, I think, 5 sets for at least Carlin, because obviously it's their first round of the year. 4 sets for a lot of the others. They used old tyres from the previous rounds in free practice. So this will be fresh tyre runs throughout qualifying. So they'll have a little bit extra life in the tyres, but the surface temps are going to rock it if they don't look after them.
Something to tread very carefully about, as I think we get the first flying lap for Philippe Kameniarz in the number 88. Crypto Tower Racing, the 19-year-old Polish driver. Spent 2018 doing some Spanish Formula 4, made the step up to UAE Formula 4, and now here in Euroformula Open and getting ever quicker. He's still getting to grips with this type of car and the tracks that we're racing on. Last time out in Paul Ricard for round 2. Had a decent haul of it, but best qualifying, I should say, of 9th the last time out. Best qualifying so far this year, 7th. So if he can get in around there and perhaps make a step up to the top 5, Kameniarz will be a very happy man, I think. So forever getting quicker and matching his slightly more experienced teammates, Louis Foster and Nazim Azman. So we'll watch them as they get going. There is the new boy on the block, the number 31, Christian Mansell, Carlin car. Christian Mansell from New South Wales. 2019, not too much racing experience, but he's very young. 2019 Australian Formula 4, then made the step up with Carlin in British Formula 4, taking the rookie title with 14 wins and 23 podiums. So this kid is fast.
Yeah, no, I spoke to him yesterday. He's very laid back as well. Very, very.
Oh, he's Australian, of course he is.
Yeah, and we did a little podcast about basically how you jump into a car like this and at a track like this, which is very, very long, so many corners you have to learn. And without that kind of track time in advance to that, learning it as quickly as he can. And he did have some help, he does have some help this weekend from Dan Ticktum, who's helping driver coach him.
Yes, Dan Ticktum here, the Carlin FIA Formula 2 driver. Williams back driver as well. He is here with us this weekend, not racing, but as you say earlier, supporting Christian Mansell in a coaching capacity. So who better to coach you really than someone who's doing very well in Formula 2 and vying for a seat in Formula 1. If we talk about the road to F1, that is certainly it. As we watch the number 66 of Zdeněk Chovanec. Now, lots of confusion over how we pronounce his name, and I even had to ask him, and even on his Twitter, he says, don't bother, just say Shrek. That's the easiest way of saying it. So just call him Shrek. So I don't know whether to go with that. It doesn't seem professional, but hey, that's Zdeněk Chovanec out on track at the moment. Another one forever getting up to grips as well. Last time out, managed to get a couple of top 10 qualifyings under his belt, 10th, 9th and 12th in all 3 races. So he goes for a flying lap now as we watch number 35. That is Enzo Scionti. Looks like he's on a flying lap, and slipstream here is going to be so important, especially down this long Kemmel straight where the number 88 car there, Caminias, is really going to get a nice helping hand from Enzo Scionti for his lap. But then you go into the corners, and that's when you could come a cropper. So you've really got to time it right and have that good gap so you can try and make the most of the slipstream, but also not get held up in the corners either.
Yeah, and this track is very, very wide. The cameras don't quite show it, but you know, you can easily go side by side here. There's a lot of undulation, and particularly through these corners here, it's negative camber. So the inside of the track is kind of higher up than the outside of the track. That always tries to pull the car away from the apex of the corner. So that makes it really difficult if you are stuck behind someone. You've already got a bit of dirty air to keep it as you want it through the second sector of the lap.
Well, currently, with just a few laps on the board at the moment, it is Josh Mason who tops the timings after 2 laps with a 2:18.9. I suggest those times are going to get a lot quicker as we now watch Enzo Trulli, who is up 4 seconds in the second sector. So I think we are going to see some quicker times as he goes quickest so far. We're now into the 2:13s. So times rapidly improving as the track starts to rub it in. A little bit of a lock-up going into turn 1. 3.3 miles there, this circuit, 7 kilometres, 19 turns, 10 right, 9 left. And you're right, Elliot, I walked the track yesterday, and this is my first time here, and it is a lot wider than you think it is when you watch it on screen. It just doesn't do it justice, and especially Eau Rouge. That elevation change that everybody talks about as Josh Mason crosses the line to go quicker, taking back P1 spot with a 2:13.0. It just doesn't do it justice. It is so wide here. It's a beautiful track. Yeah,
it's an incredible incline, and it's incredibly smooth asphalt as well. So, you know, it's very good to drive in that capacity as well. As we're seeing Josh Mason actually come down to this corner, if you can take this corner flat, the compression on the driver and on the car, you really, really feel it. But obviously, if you're just warming up the tyres, you don't want to be going that fast straight away. Louis Foster is back in the pits. This is a strategy he also used in free practice because a lot of the drivers were saving tyres yesterday. It was very hot temperatures. We had 29 degrees air temperature. Track temperature was in the 30s, I understand, and right now it's 23 degrees out there, but the sun is shining directly down on the circuit everywhere, so it's a surface temperature tyres. Chovanec waves his way past Enzo Scionti at the end of Kemmel straight. I don't think he was very happy there with the driver ex-driver, and that is the corner where Euroformula history at this circuit. There's been a lot of action, and both of them are going very slowly now.
Yes, not a very happy chap, is he? They're all going quite slowly there. Well, both those two in particular. You wonder if Scionti or someone's locked up. You can hear that in the background. But it would be good to get a replay because we only caught the end of that to see who caught who, and maybe someone was dawdling perhaps in the middle of the track, because you've got to be looking in your mirrors constantly. Casper Stevenson, the rookie VAR driver, currently tops the timings with a 2:12.1 as we watch Zdeněk Chovanec. I'm going with it. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going with Shrek, and he'll have to tell me otherwise. But let's see if we can get a little replay of it here. Oh. That's a tricky one.
Yeah, and so basically what happened there was Enzo Scionti came to the end of the straight going very slowly. Chovanec looks left foot right, left foot right behind him, then eventually opts to go down the inside. But to back off, if you're going to back off on the Kemmel straight, you pull to the other side off the racing line, do it halfway down the straight. You don't do it as you get to the next corner.
And I wonder if Scionti was actually on a fast lap there, because if he was, then he's obviously entitled to be like that. But then it just sort of looked like he dawdled right at the end, and then Chovanec not knowing where to go. So a bit of a little incident there, an unnecessary incident. But hey, these guys are young, they're learning how to do this, you know, how to work on their skills in qualifying in the race. So that's what it's all about. So no harm done there. They've all still got their front wings on, so that's all that matters. Josh Mason having a much better run of it at the moment. 2:12.1 currently topping the timings. We see both two cars going side by side into, and one bit that is narrow is the entrance to the pit lane.
Yeah, Casper Stevenson and Vivian Castelli, they're getting very, very close on the entry corner. So I think, first thing in the morning, drivers aren't quite as alert as they usually are here, as a lot of the drivers are going to do the usual Euroformula qualifying mid-session, look at the setup on the computer, maybe have a smartphone in the car and check it out, and then go out on another set of new tyres. And checking out the tyres on the current cars, you see kind of strips going around the tyres when they're degrading, and it does look like one or two of them have that already. So they might have been used sets of tyres, but the others are new. Here's Casper Stevenson in the Van Amersfoort car. He was fastest overall in free practice yesterday. We had 2 sessions, so he was faster in the cooler session where it was basically easier to go faster. And now we're on the number 88 car, Philippe Caminiars. He's currently in 8th place. It looks like Enzo Trulli is still on track.
Yeah, also interesting to note that Nazim Asman and Cameron Dass have yet to set a lap. So currently, with no time on the board, in 11th and 12th, Cameron Dass, of course, our leading challenger. He leads the Motorpart 1-2 by 55 points in the championship standings, and helped by Jack Crawford not being here in Portugal for round 1 because he was too young to race, and he's also not here this weekend. So if ever Cameron Dass wanted to make sure he brought it home with a win and with a podium at least, and extend his championship lead, this is where he's going to want to do it. Crawford's car, of course, as I mentioned right at the top, will be taken over by the German driver Luton, who is currently 4th at the moment, just 8/10 off, so not a bad first half of the session for the young German. So, of course, coming in fresh with no single-seater experience for this year. Of course, he's raced in Euroformula previously and is doing some prototype racing as well. But it is currently double R man Josh Mason, who had a bit of a tough time really out in France. Couldn't really string it together. Tried to change up his settings, tried to change up his strategy to get to reverse grid pole in the second race, but it just didn't come together for him. So he's hoping for a much better run of it this year, and currently tops the timings with a 2:12.1.
Yeah, and this circuit should be one that suits Double R, because when they first came into Euroformula, at least on quite a few of the circuits, they ran lower wing levels than everyone else. So on these kind of long straights, very, very good for that. And different downforce levels. And then also last year they came here, Louis Foster, very first weekend in the championship, and he actually ended up winning one of the races here. So they know how to be very, very quick at this circuit with the Dallara 320, which is in its 2nd year of use. It's been raced at this circuit only once before. We did have a pre-season test here earlier this year. I think it was 3 days. There was snow, rain, thunder on day 1. Euroformula came, bit of a nicer weather, but there was a little bit of rain. And then the F4 cars came back the day after that, and it was just snow non-stop. So good timing there. All the cars sitting in the shade there. They want to keep things cool. I actually learned yesterday you can preload the clutches on these cars quite well without overheating the clutch and basically destroying everything. So drivers are learning to do that. I think they're going to be on a weather watch today, because we had weather like this yesterday in free practice. I was on the pit wall for both sessions, and there was definitely rain, but you couldn't see any clouds. But I was taking pictures of the surface, track surface. There was definitely drops of rain on there.
No, I felt that yesterday as well. Just walking, I was thinking, it's sunny and blue sky. Why am I feeling a bit of rain? So here in the beautiful Ardennes forest, we're sort of in a valley here, aren't we? It's really quite spectacular as we get a nice replay of Enzo Trulli back in action this weekend. Son, of course, of Monaco race winner in 2004, Jarno Trulli, who is here as well, guiding his son through his junior career. Shrek Chauvenet there, currently in 6th, the 4th best rookie at the moment. He's about 1.4 seconds off, and as you say, Louis Foster is returning here with a race win under his belt from Spa last year. And you spoke to him, didn't you? And he says, although Dass seemed to perhaps have a slight edge in practice yesterday, Foster thinks he's still got some more left in the bag.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it came down to, obviously, Cameron Dass on set lap now. Drivers did banker laps in free practice, then worked a lot on setup, then went back out when the conditions are slightly changed. From the data they have, Cameron Dass perhaps has seen that advantage, gone, I don't need to set a banker lap this time. I'm going to wait until the track's a little faster at the end of the session and then go out, have that tyre life advantage, and make the most of it that way. However, it does come at the risk of both him and Nazem Azman haven't actually set a lap yet, so if anything does go wrong in this session, if there's a red flag or yellows that compromise a lap, then that's going to put those two in trouble.
Well, it is a danger, isn't it? You've got to be careful, because it's all well and good playing the long game and trying to get the best track conditions, but having a banker lap is so important, and I suppose just sets your mind at ease a little bit. And Josh Mason, I think, will be pretty happy with his time so far. As the cars come out, they'll do a warm-up lap and then get going with just over 9 minutes left. Currently, let's take a look at how it all stands. It's Josh Mason on provisional pole, then Casper Stevenson, Christian Mansell with a great effort on his first weekend in the championship. Third, Matthias Luthen as well, filling in for Jack Crawford this weekend. Fourth, Enzo Trulli. Fifth, Shrek Chovanec in sixth. Enzo Schionti is seventh. Filip Caminillas eighth. He's about 4 seconds off the pace. And then Louis Foster, who hasn't set a competitive lap time, neither has Vivian Cassay. Cameron Das and Nazem Azman also having not taken any banker laps just yet, but they are now out on track, so we will get a full-on proper picture, I suspect, within the next few minutes round this track, which actually is not, although we call it Spa, it's not actually in Spa, but it's in the town of Francorchamps in Stavelot,
yes,
in Belgium.
The town of Spa is considerably far away, as I
Don't be fooled.
Yeah.
But we are in the beautiful Belgian Ardennes countryside, sort of eastern Belgium, close to the border of Germany and the Netherlands. As we go around 19 turns, 10 right, 9 left. Well, I think it is. Depends how quick you drive.
Or cycle, yeah.
The first ever sort of race Grand Prix was held here in 1925, designed in 1920. So that's how you know it is one of these historic racetracks, and it is the facilities here are just beautiful, and it is one of the, I think, highlights of everybody's calendar, no matter what racing series you're in. I know this is certainly Cameron Das has said, our championship leader, this is his favourite track. So people tend to do well on their favourite tracks if they already feel like they're at home. So we'll see what Das can do, our current championship leader. As we see the number 25 car, Casper Stevenson, one of our rookies this year from Great Britain, coming across the line. Looks like he's going to do his first fast lap. Well, they're all coming across the line in a relative quick succession. So, but they look like they're all fairly evenly spaced out. So the slipstream effect might help a couple of the runners further down the field. Das now up to fourth with, no he's not, that's, well, I think our timing screens are a bit of disparity there with the one we have in the box. But currently on your screen it says Das is in fourth, but in our screen it says he's 11th. So I'm sure that will shake itself out once we get all the flying laps through, as we see here.
But he is setting the very fastest first sector of anyone, although actually Vivian Cassay has gone in faster than that, so it's a personal best for both of those. The track could be getting faster. I think the thing with doing a banker lap as well is, and I saw this in Indy Lights qualifying last night actually, is you actually get an idea of what the track's like at that moment, and you can just get enough data to then determine what you want to do on a second run. Those who only take the risk of doing one run don't have that extra manoeuvrability of decision making, because they can only go with what they've chosen before they get in the car rather than after doing a run. So that's the risk a few of these drivers are playing here. We're following Casper Stevenson, who was very quick in free practice yesterday. Also said the heat had a big effect. And Van Amersfoort Racing is operating at Zandvoort this weekend as well. One of many teams that are at this circuit and also other circuits. Carlin's at Road America. So much work so many of these teams are doing this weekend.
Yeah, there's so many races going on across the across Europe, I think, and across the globe actually this weekend. So it's great to see racing back in action as well after a year of turbulence. So it's nice to get some more consistent racing track action, because that's what we all want to see. 5 minutes and 40 seconds left on the clock. Josh Mason currently topping the timings. He's only 5,000ths quicker than Casper Stevenson. Christian Mansell as well, still in third, but as we said, the track is getting quicker, we think. But also, this could well benefit. This is where the likes of Vivian Cassay and those perhaps further down the order who are still getting to grips can try and jump up from their usual qualifying spots if they can make the slipstream work, because it is so powerful here. We've seen it in the other sessions already this weekend that are happening. If you can slipstream your teammate or well, they're not going to slipstream anybody else, are they? But no, they probably won't even want to slipstream their teammate, but that might also be a factor that we're going to see here. Josh Mason now crossing the line. Don't think he's going to go any quicker because he was 3.1 up. I think he gave up halfway through that lap, but it was a good start. We must have had a mistake there early on because he was 0.6 up in the first sector.
And what he knows there is he's got his teammate behind him, so he's not giving an advantage to any other teams with the slipstream, only his teammate, and that's that's good for him. He is currently holding provisional pole with 4 minutes 40 to go, and kind of a cool down, semi-cool down lap would be around 2 minutes 22. So 2 more laps for everyone to go right now, and there's pretty decent gaps here. So I don't think anyone's going to have any traffic issues.
No, they've all spaced themselves out nice and easily. Everyone has now got a lap on the board. The bottom half looks like this. It's 9th for Cameron Das, 10th Nazim Asman, 11th Philippe Caminez, and 12th Louis Foster, who is 5.1 seconds off at the moment. But I suspect, as we say, if we've got 2 more laps in them, I can't imagine Foster is going to be down there. Our returning race winner from last year as well and he had a good old battle. In fact, it left him quite angry after race 3 in France last time out. Cameron Das said it was one of the best races he has ever been in, alongside Jack Crawford. But Foster ultimately, I think, lost out on that one. Didn't quite have the overall winner's pace, but I think he felt a bit hard done by, edged out on track by Crawford there. But I have a feeling it was more really a racing scenario there than any wrongdoing. No penalties for it. As we watch now, Louis Foster, who is indeed over half a second up in the first sector. Let's see how he does through this middle sector. How's he looking? But actually, it's Cameron Das who's got the fastest middle sector at the moment. Foster goes 1.3 seconds up, but it's Das still holding the quickest second sector as we come through the final sector now, carrying all the speed as much as you can through Blanchimont, down into a hard braking zone, the bus stop chicane. Very easy to lock it up here. Can Louis Foster hold it all together? Yes, he can. Slings it in right, slings it out left, onto the main straight. What can he do as he crosses the line? Little bit of slipstream there. He goes provisional pole with a 2:10.2. That is 6.5 tenths quicker than Josh Mason currently. So a very good effort from Louis Foster. Now we're seeing what they can really do. They have left it right to the very end, but we are now seeing times constantly improving. Josh Mason, though, still holding second. Stevenson managing to improve slightly, stays in third. Cameron Das now up to 4th. So solid improvement there. He'll be wanting to try and get pole, though, because he knows he can, and he knows this is the place where if he wants to really kind of cement his championship hold and extend it, this is where he can do it best.
And I think he might have timed this very nicely. We have 2 minutes 10 to go. He's already gone through the first sector, so he is going to cross the finish line about 8 seconds for the checkered flag, I think. And given how many drivers ahead and behind him, he's got quite a good advantage there with a slipstream. Is down in the first sector, and what some of the other drivers are doing. Louis Foster's actually just set the very fastest first sector, and he will definitely have time to do another lap after this. So looking at this, I think 5 or 6 drivers have timed this right, that they are going to have time to do one more lap if this one isn't good enough for pole.
Enzo Truly's just hopped up to 7th as well, 1.7 seconds off with a 2:12.0. Louis Foster fastest in the first sector. Josh Mason going quicker as well. Cameron Das, though, has just set the fastest middle sector, currently holding 4th. Christian Mansell doing a really solid job as well in 5th there for Carlin on their return to the championship and his first race of the season. Cameron Das again going quicker in that middle sector, as you can see on your screen. Now Louis Foster's lost a bit. I think he's given up in this middle sector. He doesn't like what he's doing. Lost time in that second sector, so he'll be able to get one more lap in. Louis Foster. Josh Mason going slower in the second sector, so doesn't look like he'll be able to improve. Cameron Das goes up to 2nd, though, with that time. Just 3 tenths behind Louis Foster. So Foster does have a bit more in the bag than Das does. Like he said to you, Elliot, earlier in the week, Josh Mason crossing the line now, quickest in the first sector. Little bit lost in the second sector. What does that do for him? Coming across the line, it does nothing. Goes a little bit closer to Louis Foster, just over 2.5 tenths.
Does bring him back onto the front row. The timing screens now are showing 2 versions of Cameron Das on the screen, which isn't correct. He is actually in 3rd place at the moment. Matthias Luton is in 10th place, 1.8 seconds off pace. Very, very close lap times, actually, considering how long this circuit is and just how many corners there are. How much time can be gained or lost. Car 40 time, 2 minutes 16 is being deleted, so that's not going to change anything because that's quite a slow lap. It looks like everyone is in sector 2 of the track right now. The checkered flag has been waved, so this is the final laps for everyone.
Yeah, so if there's going to be any improvements, this is where you're going to see it. Josh Mason is fastest in the speed trap at the moment. Equal, actually, to Christian Mansell. Can hear somebody locking up there in front of Josh Mason. Who's gone wide there? Looks like Casper Stevenson might have locked up. No, it's the number 25. Yes, that is Casper Stevenson. So Jarno Trulli, though, is the first to cross the line, and he stays 7th at the moment, so he can't improve. Louis Foster is improving ever so slightly in the first sector, but not as quick as Josh Mason. Currently lies in second, but has gone nearly 2/10 quicker in that first sector. Louis Foster going to try and make it up in the second and third sector. Currently, it's Foster, Mason and Das, your top three. Only Enzo Trulli has crossed the line. He won't be able to set a faster one. He stays in 7th. I think he would have been hoping for better from that, because he could well be knocked down at the timings come at the end of this. Let's have a look. Cameron Das as well. Doesn't look like he's going any quicker either, so perhaps we've reached the cliff here where we've had the best of the track conditions and they've already used the best up of the tyres, because it only, not even Josh Mason is able to improve in the second sector, neither is Louis Foster. It looks like we might well. Cameron Das can't improve. He stays third. As we now come through the bus stop chicane with Josh Mason and Louis Foster, what can they do? It doesn't look like we're going to get any dramatic improvements. Josh Mason stays second. Louis Foster looks like he will take provisional pole position for race 1 here in Spa-Francorchamps for Euroformula round 3. It looks like he was right. He did have it in the bag. Das was faster in practice, but Foster said, yeah, he might have the edge, but I've got more in the bag, and he has proven to do that. Absolutely. Foster will start from pole position for this afternoon's race, and it's Josh Mason, Cameron Das in third. Casper Stevenson will line up fourth, first of the rookies, and a really top-notch effort from the rookie Christian Mansell, who slots into fifth. His debut this weekend, the return with Carlin as well, being coached by Dan Tickton, the FIA Formula 2 race driver and the Williams Formula 1 team development driver. Nazim Asman had a bit of a quiet session there in 6th. Enzo Trulli held on to 7th, just ahead of Shrek Jovenek. Philippe Caminillard in 9th. Matthias Luton, who is replacing Jack Crawford for this round, is in 7th. And there you can see confirmation as well of qualifying. Matthias Luton in 10th, apologies. Then it's Enzo Schionti in 11th. And Vivian Cassay will round out the field for 12th place for Team Motorpark. But yes, it will be Louis Foster. So that is qualifying for race 1 done, which will set the race for race 2, I should say. And the first 6 positions are reversed, of course, for the following race. And then for the final race, it is all based on who sets the quickest lap time. So a change to how Euroformula works this year, which I think has worked out really well, spiced up the track action nicely. But that is your action here at Euroformula Open. Louis Foster will take pole position as he clambers out of his car. Never a graceful way to do that, is there? But I don't think he'll care. He'll be happy with that. He's done the job he needs to do. Quick photo op, or is he looking at data there? Quick selfie and a smile to the camera underneath that helmet, I am sure. Louis Foster, pole position in the number 20. Not in the number 21, that's Josh Mason. Louis Foster in the number 27, Crypto Tower Racing Machine.
Seeing a replay of Cameron Das, the car looks way more planted than Motorpark usually sets up those cars. Josh Mason, double R, a lot of front wing vibrations as they go through the final 2 corners.
You know what? Josh Mason will be really happy with that. After a bit of a bad weekend last time out, he'll be so happy with second place. All to do there for Josh Mason. He can really make an impact and go for the win. As we see there, Louis Foster, there is your pole man. Crypto Tower Racing Team, the young Brit, just 17 years old, from Odium in the UK. And let's hear from him now, shall we? Down in the pit lane.
Louis Foster, pole position at Spa. Well done. How was it this morning?
Very hot. Yeah, we only we did 2 stints, 2 sets of tyres. First set we didn't even plan on doing a lap, just to get a feel for the track temps, because they've been varying all weekend. Obviously it's only 11 AM and it's pretty hot already, like 26 to 27 degrees. But yeah, it was a good quali. Happy with how it went. Had a bit of an issue midway through that last run. We're supposed to do 3 laps, only managed to do 2. Got some traffic on my second lap, which is ultimately where my fastest lap time would have been, so there was more in the bag for me. But, you know, I think the first lap just managed to put it all together, and there wasn't really any mistakes. There was still a little bit, you know, 1 or 2% more to go. But, you know, really happy to get pole, and looking forward to the races.
Well done in any case, and maybe repeat the victory last year.
I hope so. We haven't won this year yet, which is really disappointing. But, yeah, hopefully we can get a win. So, cheers.
Thank you, Lewis. All the best.
Louis Foster there. Our pole man, he loves that saying, doesn't he? More in the bag. So even more in the bag than a 2:10.2, which was just over 2.5 tenths quicker than Josh Mason. But it will be Louis Foster who starts the race from pole position. Do make sure you join us later on this afternoon where we get the racing action under